Hey,
All
hey, you
right,
know
all right.
me. It's Dr. Cheryl, MD, and we are here with Chatters That Matters. I'm here with my co-host, Hurricane H, Hisham Elamati, and we have a special celebrity guest for you tonight. But before we introduce him to you, we have a little housekeeping to do. So can we hit a little music, Hurricane?
Well, actually, we're good. You want to hit that music? We'll go with beat. That's it. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. That's it. Work it.
There it is.
Uh,
Gotta love it. Gotta have
that was
fun.
cool. That was good.
Yes, indeed. Hey, hey, hey. So we
Attitude.
are
It's all
here,
about
like I
that.
said, with Chatters That Matters. Let's talk about it. And we have a fun guest, and I do mean a fun guest with us tonight because we have with us celebrity actor and comedian extraordinaire, Faizon Love.
Wow.
Welcome, Faizon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Now, if you have no idea who Faison is, you might be living under a rock, or you might just not recognize the name. But I am sure that you recognize some of the work that he's done. This is Big Worm from Friday. Faison,
Friday.
can you tell us how you got the name Big Worm?
That was in the script. It was
Okay,
DJ Food wrote it.
okay, all right.
You thought it was through casting?
I I had no idea. It was like Big Worm. I wonder how that came about.
That's called a big
So he was in Friday. He is also in he is also in The Replacements. And The Replacements is where I remember you from because you were one of my favorite characters in The Replacements.
Thank you. That's one of my favorite movies. Yeah,
Right, right. That was a great show. I enjoyed it.
that movie
What
now.
was I can't even remember the lead's name on that one. Matrix. Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves was in it. That was a great movie. I liked it.
Gene Hackman.
And
Yeah, it was,
yes, yes, indeed.
yeah,
You were also in Block Party and Couples Retreat.
yeah.
So those are just a few of the things
Shane.
you've been in. What
Just
was
a
Daddy.
few of the. Did you say May? Oh, that's for live TV.
so Faison, can you tell us how you got started? Because you started really early in the game. You were what, 15?
I was actually 14, and
Okay.
I got back from New York and went to San Diego, and I told my uncle that I wanted to be a comedian. I saw Eddie Murphy on this thing called HBO Funny Comedians or something, and I was like, I told my uncle that's what I want to do, and then he says, "Hey, you gotta start in a comedy club." And I was like, "What's a comedy club?" So when I got back to San Diego, me and my best friend Earl started looking for a comedy club, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So that's literally how I got started. I just went there, and they told me I can get on stage on potluck night, but I couldn't stay in the club because I was too young. So I had to
Right.
wait outside until they called my name. I would go in, do my time, and then leave. And then pretty soon that stopped because a good friend of mine, mother owned the club. Well, I didn't know it. I met him down there, Paulie Shore. His mother owned the club in Los Angeles and La Jolla.
Hmm.
And we were the same age. He's like, "Man, you don't have to wait outside. You can come here with me." I was like, "Oh shit." So I think he was breaking all, Paulie's known for breaking all the rules, but when Paulie came down and saw me doing stand up, and he was like, "Yeah, man, we're the same age, and He was like, "No, you come in here. You gotta wait outside." Yeah.
So were you always kind of a comedian? I mean, were you that funny kid that was always cutting the jokes in class and stuff?
I was an asshole.
Okay.
I was a. I did. We used to have this thing at high school, Morris High, where I was standing in front of the flagpole and talking
Oh,
about
if I want to hear this.
and talking about everybody that came in. Like, you know, if your mother dropped you off, you know, I would talk about your mama's car. So every morning in front of the flagpole, uh, I would be out there with my little, you know, couple, you know, 'cause we were assholes, you know, we were affiliated with street gangs back then. Back then, everybody in California was in your neighborhood was your gang. So it's like,
Right.
you know, so you're with these people, and you know, you're talking shit. And can you cuss on that?
You know,
So,
and people always talk about gangs and they associate that with LA and
yeah,
it's like this certain group of people that do this. But as you say that, I kind of think back on it, and I remember I grew up out of country, and so we were in the Philippines,
wow,
and your block was your gang, and I remember having street wars with the other blocks. Now they were usually races or whatever. They weren't all out real wars, gang wars, but I mean, I think that that's kind of human nature to do that, finding your tribe, and that's your gang, and everyone else is outside of it.
listen, we would walk because I went to. What's funny about San Diego? It's not segregated, but it is kind of segregated because a lot of people there,
Hmm.
Navy. You know, that's what Barter said was a Navy. And I went to a all white junior high school. So the first week there was all these race wars until the next year we all became friends. But everybody that went there
Right.
was from our neighborhood, and we was, we was, you know, uh, a set for a neighborhood, Open Lane, Bunny
Right.
Boy. So but we, when I left that, I never want to go to white school. I want to go. The black school was Morris, and the other one
Okay.
was Lincoln. So we had two.
Hmm.
And my father was like, "Hell no, you ain't gonna be fighting." My father knew who I was, so he's like, "No, you're
So you were that guy. You were that guy that was going to fight.
what? We had to listen." And I'm not saying I won every. Hell no, I won every fight, but we would fight. I remember this white dude beat me up at Lewis. I thought he was a pushover, and I was like, man, I was like, and this one, he hit me so hard. My guy from my neighborhood, we call him. His name is Chris, but we call him Earblood. Earblood was like,
Uh-huh.
yo, I gotta go whoop his ass because we cannot take this back. This is why we whooped your
You
ass.
were my brother. My brother was just like you. I mean, he would walk outside and he'd practically bump a guy, and it's like, why'd you hit him, Kurt? Basically, he was there.
Hey, my mouth would get me into so much trouble because I was
Oh, I bet.
a kid. Like I said, I was an asshole. Well, I think I'm still apologizing to people from high school and junior high. And even though, like I said, I went to Lewis Junior High, all those people I met back there are still my friends today. And I bump into them. I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry, man. We were just guy taught me how to ride a dirt bike, and then when I went to Morris High, that's like the black school. My father was like, "You better not fuck up there. You fuck up one time." Of course, I got kicked out. Uh, I went to
Out of
five.
out of junior high school?
I went to five high
Oh
schools
Lord. Oh
in my senior
Lord.
year. Two of them being continuation schools. I ended up graduating from Twain, but I went to Garfield. Was Gangbang Central. So,
Okay.
so if you went there, you it's like you better knew how to fight or you was gonna fight. So I was and I got kicked out of there, and you know, but it was all these people that we were fighting. I truly love to this day because when I go back to San Diego, we're like, hey, remember that time you do this is do the character, the team, all this bullshit. But we always remember that stuff. But it all started out by me, my mouth.
Right. Now,
So
what were you like with your teachers?
Miss Pearson, that's what I'm saying. Miss Pearson, she would give me. She said Faizon, and she was the straightest shooter. She was like, if you just shut the fuck up, I'll let you tell your little jokes at the end of the class. But you gotta let these other people get an education because she sent me to Mr. Harold, who I still talk to this day, and he told me about 10 years ago. He says, "You remember when I got sent when we would get sent to the principal's office with referrals, and that's a bad thing. But I would
Right.
I would go there all the time. But he's like." So one time he's like, I come in with a referral, and it was like Cheers, and he's like, Faizon. He just was evaporated. He just was exhausted. He was like, Faizon, what? I said, listen, Mr. Earl, don't worry about me. Just take care of the other kids over there, okay? He said, what the fuck you mean don't worry about it? And he knew my father, he knew my family back then. It was like that, they what the fuck you mean don't worry? I said, don't worry about me. Just take care of my other kid. And to this day, he always remembers, he says, remember what you told me? Don't worry about you. He said, how did you know that? I said, I don't know. I just knew there's something in you that goes, it's all gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Once you find, you know what I'm saying? It's like this journey that we're on, but something in me said, nah, you're gonna be okay. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be all right. Just don't kill him. So
Okay. Now, did you? I mean, I know that you were a funny guy, and so you had the whole comedian thing going on. But did you ever see yourself as an actor?
no, I thought that was kind of the natural progression.
Uh-huh.
Because back then it was Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Red Fox, Bill Cosby, of course, and they were huge.
The greats, the
Right.
greats.
So it's like, I guess that's the next. When I was doing the stand up, I was just like trying to just get that together. But then I would
Mm-hmm.
study films. Like I would watch a film. Like one of the first films I started studying was a movie called with first actor was Gregory Hines. Really, before even I was like, wow, this guy is amazing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he's funny. He's an actor. He was this movie. Um, Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's History of the World Part One. And then he did this movie with called Running Scared, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of the formula to Eddie Murphy and what he was doing. So I was like, that's when I studied, started looking at acting, going, damn, that'd be fly. I can see myself doing something like that. Um,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't know anything about acting other than okay, I'm gonna get in the movie probably later on. Like my first audition, I landed because I went there with somebody else, a guy named Tommy Chun, uh,
Mm-hmm.
comedian who went to an audition, and the cast name said, "Why don't you read?" I was like, "What you mean read? You want me to go there and read the audition?" I was like, and I read this shit, and I go, "Motherfuckers don't talk like this." It literally, it literally had. This here mofo. Back then it said motherfucker, they would say mofo. And I was like, what the hell is a mofo? He was like, they use them, look here, mofo. I was like, I'm saying no damn mofo. And they was saying mofo. Look here, mofo. Mofo, if you don't stop, mofo, I'm gonna hurt you. And I was like, bullshit. And I went there and and then that was my first role movie, Street Wars. Um, yeah, yeah. So that was, and I enjoyed like there's a buzz you get when you working on a film. You're walking on a set and you smell the lumber from the, especially when you walking on. I was walking on working on a sound stage, so it's
Mhm.
certain things you always smell and you always remember. You walking on a set. There's the coffee. There's this and the it's always to me the lumber and you always hear buzzing.
As they're preparing new parts of the sets. Yep, you're right.
The smell of the gun,
And things moving around.
yeah, so
Uh-huh.
it's like
And things moving around and things moving around. I was on the set of Angels and Demons, and I played one of the diplomats' wives.
really,
And Ron Howard actually had to interrupt the scene because this is the biggest set I've ever been on, right?
really.
And they had these ginormous boom cameras that were just coming overhead.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking up at the cameras and all sorts of strange things going through my head, like, wow, I wonder how many people that would take out if it fell. It's like, how did I get away? So you're studying this camera. You finally stopped the scene and said, I'm going to need you to look at the funeral. And I was so embarrassed. But I
Please
mean,
don't
there is.
get
Yeah, there's just so much going on the stage. You're right. The smells, the sounds, they really they create the excitement.
that's what I was like. Wow, if I can stay out of trouble, man, I can make this would be the shit. I was like, um, it was amazing, and it's still amazing to be a part of a big, production, and um, it's just that really. It's just uh, mine was like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. I was like, because no one could. They were like, this is your first time. You take no acting classes. I said, nope. I've just been watching Gregory Hines.
Hmm.
So I had to just stay out of trouble. Um,
Uh-huh.
and that,
Did you get into trouble on your sets as well?
no, not on the sets.
Okay.
Only one time. Um, and that was like a television show. We were, people get antsy, and I'm like, I'm not. I will fuck you up. I had to learn to play. I always thought it was good to play a square. I didn't want nobody to
Right.
know who I was. I didn't want nobody
Uh-huh.
to know anything about me. So I was like, no. So I created this whole, this square, and I didn't want anybody to know. But then, when people would come around, like, hey, why are you hanging around with? It's okay. He's a good guy. Um, but yeah, that was you get some actors that are real cocky and or whatever, and you're like, man, shut the fuck out of here with that bullshit. And that was probably my but I being on the set is no. It's always my trouble used to come from going to bars, drinking with my
Mhm.
friends. Somebody,
Mhm.
my girls notice you, like, hey, he's just a fat guy. I'm like, all right. Blip. Next thing you know, the guy's laying on the floor. You're in court.
Oops.
You're in
Oops.
court going, yeah. So, but
So
yeah,
you were always a big
What,
guy.
what,
Did you fight a lot because of your weight?
I wasn't this big. I got this fat later on. If you look at a lot
Uh-huh.
of early stuff, I'm actually not. Yeah, I was never this big, um,
Mhm.
but I was uh, big. No, I've never had someone pick on me going, "Hey, fat boy." Uh, I used to play football,
Uh-huh.
so it's like pretty athletic, but not. Not. I'm not. I'm not going to be. getting no scholarships or anything like that. I mean, Marcus Allen, Marcus Allen grew up down the street from us, and
Oh.
his father was my baseball coach. And
Mm-hmm.
my father was like, you gotta play baseball. I mean, little league. And Red was like, no, he ain't gonna be no baseball player. Then with football, we play football. Football is really popular in San Diego right now. I think we have the highest number of Heisman Trophy winners in one neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
So played football, and that's part of the game thing too. It was football. It was like, but no, I never was like nobody ever was. Hey, fat boy. Yes, I
Uh-huh.
was the one always launching um, um, bombs. Like people see me, but like, oh, don't talk about him because there's people 50 years old that I gave a name to in high school that people still call them, and they're gonna chrome. They're gonna
And they're still stuck with it.
they're stuck with that name, and man, people call me fucking light bright. so, yeah, it was yeah. So I was not bullied.
Okay.
Guys,
Were
stop.
you? So you were a little bit of the bully, though, maybe.
No, no,
No.
no. I was protecting people from
Troublemaker.
I was a
He was
trouble.
troublemaker. There's a difference between troublemaker and bully. You're right.
I was a trouble. I was like, what? I'm taking up for the person to get bullied. Like what?
Uh-huh.
So,
Well, Faizon, who's gonna mess with you, man?
Really?
yeah,
No one can mess with you.
Nobody
I
with
see
half
it.
of a
I can't mess
brain.
with you, man.
you gotta sit down. But as a kid, everybody fought when I grew up. There was a little skinny kid, rest in peace, he just died, lived 3 doors down. We called him Boo Boo. His name was Edward Forty. And me and Edward Forty would fight every morning. Every morning we would fight, right? But he's from my neighborhood, so if somebody wanted to fight me, it's not gonna happen. Edward's gonna jump in.
Right.
But we would fight every morning. Pow, pow, roll around the street. So Allied, we would all fight, or we go somewhere and we protect each other. But
Uh-huh.
back then, all we did was play football in the streets, running the cars and shit. And I wasn't
Right.
like, trust me, there's some bad motherfuckers I grew up with,
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, it wasn't like no one. That bullshit they be putting in movies like one guy runs everything. Hell no. Hell no. You had to get out how you get out.
Right.
And get out
Right.
and come around. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, we were all the Buddy Boys. So, on memory lane, uptown Buddy Boys. So it was like all of us, yeah, we all fight. Like nowadays, these kids, they don't fight. I think they should fight because all those fights I've had were all best grouped together.
Yes. Yes. I mean, and when you're having fist fights, you come out of it to reconcile. When you're having gun fights, someone's not going to come out well usually.
Nobody's gonna reconcile. So it's
Exactly.
that's how it wasn't no.
No, Doctor. I was gonna say, Dr. Tim is waiting on the room.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
So is Tim coming in?
He's waiting on the room right now.
Okay. All right. So, Faison,
Uh-huh.
one of the things that we do with this show is that we do tend to focus on some health related things, and kind of want to focus on two things with you.
Mhm.
One is the use of humor as a coping mechanism, and the other thing is I was told that you have some problems with your back. So,
Mm.
can you tell us a little bit about that?
I don't know what the fuck going on, but I, I after COVID, I had COVID. I was one of the first persons to get COVID, really bad.
Uh huh.
I had it for about I would say a month and a half, 2 months, just say 2 months. From February 9th to April 18th.
Mm-hmm.
It was really bad. I mean, and my mother took care of me actually, and she um and you know, so funny, when I was sick, Scarface was sick, and he would call me, and we would compare notes and shit. Because I was so fucked up. I was like, I'll never smoke a cigar again because I couldn't breathe when I walk, right?
Uh huh.
So I got over COVID. As soon as I got over COVID, so I said, man, let me smoke a fucking cigar, fucker. So
I was like, that didn't last long.
because COVID, listen, when COVID first came out, they had a picture of a dude look like me. He said, listen, if you look like this, you're gonna die. And
Oh Lord.
you big black,
Yeah.
you got a breath problem, you're gonna die. Plus, I had asthma as a kid and bronchitis. But anyway,
So you have a lot of things stacked against you.
listen, there was a picture on the news. That if you look like this, it was a picture of me. Well, you're gonna die. So I beat it, and but someone told me I might have lingering COVIDs or whatever, long COVIDs, because
Long COVID symptoms. Yeah.
what
Uh
happens
huh.
is when I walk, my back tight. I used to walk like 3 miles a day,
Okay.
and then I
That's
started.
pretty impressive at your size.
You guys keep. I guess this is not. This is the 222. Put it like this. I have to buy bigger shoes now because my ankle, my foot swells up when I travel. I started traveling more. So
Right. Right.
so from 2010 to now, this is this size. It was a different
Mm-hmm.
size. So
Okay.
I think gaining gaining some weight and not being
Mm-hmm.
mobile and traveling. I hate flying, so I would drive everywhere, and it would swell my ankles up when I would drive.
Right.
And so I was like, damn, I gotta buy some bigger shoes because I couldn't fit these. I was 13 and went to 14, and now I was like at 50, so I would drive and it would swell the fuck up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I go to the doctor.
Okay.
I go to the doctor, and they're like, well, this, um, they would do all the sonographs and all that, and there's nothing wrong with your leg. I'm like, but it's swelling up, bro. So well,
Mm-hmm.
it might be flow, blood. What do you call it? Um, whatever. I don't know what it is. But then I'm gonna tell you something. It was 2017, 18, 2017. The big worm started to malfunction.
Okay.
I'm like,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Got your attention, didn't it?
oh. I'm like,
Do we want to expand on that one, dude? Oh,
he's like, yeah, maybe there's some stress or whatever. I was like, what the fuck is this? Because I I was always the one getting compliments. Like, literally women be like, God damn! I mean, first time I ever heard, I thought this girl was fucking me. She's like, damn, you're well endowed. I was like, fuck that mean? You're well endowed. What's up? She's like, you're a big, So I would hear this over and over, but now I don't hear that no more. It's like, okay. I don't know if bigger big worms have come into the but now this thing now is like you gotta email this motherfucker like, hey buddy. It's like, nah, man, you had enough. After I had my first child,
Wake up.
at 50, I had my first child. And my only child.
Okay.
So I guess it's a way going, okay, you done, lay down. It's good. Just take care of that one. You good. I'm like, yo.
It did its job.
So now I'm like, okay, maybe I'm hearing but I'm hearing everybody's on Cialis and all. I'm like, I'm not taking one of them things, but I will. Today I've got some. I ordered some Magnum magnesium. I'm starting doing these blood oxygen things. Some beet, some horny goat. I'm gonna take all this shit because I'm like, something ain't right.
Okay, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Are we able to bring Dr. Heath?
I'm on the back to Tim. Yes.
Okay.
Hey.
Cracking up on the back.
I've been listening in the background here, and I heard about that conductor not managing to get things up where they needed to be.
I was
I saw you cracking up. I'm laughing.
What the hell is going on?
Hopefully, it's not as thin as that, and it's bigger, close to your cigar size.
Listen to me. I know
She was flushing.
it's strange to talk to a guy and to listen. I've been called well endowed all my life until 2016, 2017. I'm like, huh? I used to wait for the compliment, like, wait for it.
What the hell happened?
So I'm just going to guess what you were actually trying to get a hold of in your Magnum PI super pills is actually, interestingly enough, right here, nitric oxide. I don't know if this is on. Yeah.
That's it.
So that is actually what creates, the engorgement or the bigger and stronger, things downstairs.
$6 million man. Gentlemen, we can make them bigger. We can make them stronger.
That's right. Because we don't want them limpy. We want them, all the way up here.
Listen, with Twitter now, all these other, I'm like, yo, I'm not, you know me, when you fucked up in bed, when you say, how was it? Maybe you stressed. What? maybe you shouldn't eat those oxtails. What?
Well, as Dr. Brian Bruce said, it served you and did its purpose for your first child, right? So there you go.
Like I said, up until then, it was, I was, listen, I mean, I can't even explain, but I've had my, my women. I have my great,
entourage.
Yeah, I mean, I've had those Hollywood nights. You know what I'm saying? So, but now I have dreams of waking up going, at an orgy going, what? Does somebody just run it for 21 hours? I was like, so it's literally, I'm like, okay, maybe I have to, I don't know what I, but I keep hearing about all these guys, they keep giving me, hey, try this. I'm like, I'm not trying that. You fucking crazy. Or I'm like, why are you trying it? You're skinny, but you're skinny. Why the fuck are you? But I think this one, I have veinage leakage or something like that. You heard about that?
Okay, let's talk about that, and I'll properly introduce Dr. Heath now. We have with us Dr. Tim Heath, who is a chiropractor extraordinaire. I have worked with him for a number of years now, and he's the guy that gives the chiropractors the good names. A lot of chiropractors out there aren't quite what they need to be, but he gives the chiropractors a good name. So, Dr. Heath, can you talk about some of the things that might be causing these kinds of issues?
Oh gosh, wow. I really wasn't anticipating or prepared for this conversation, but yeah, let's go into it. So a few things that I just heard. Let's take it back a notch for a second here. When you were in mom's womb, before you were born, the first system that developed when you were, the size of a peanut was your nerve system. And the nerve system ultimately controls everything. It's the conductor, like the little stick you were holding and wandering around. That's the conductor stick. That's your neurology. And so that neurology is going to signal to, flutter your eyes, to digest your food, to, point over there and say the beach is that way, or whatever is happening, right? And so if the neurology isn't creating clean information out and then getting the right signals back in, then, everything's like cognitive dissonance. Oh my God, what's happening? 404 error code, it all just goes sideways. Right. So you got to clean up the communication and the neurology. That'd be number one. The second thing I heard was the vascular leakage. And that's an interesting topic because, if one tissue is leaking, more than likely all the tissues are leaking because they're all made of sort of the same, they may be in different locations in the body, but they sort of have the same construction, essentially, to flow, certain nutrients and whatnot. So more than likely, if you're having vascular leakage downstairs, you may be having leakage in your gut or in your brain or somewhere else. And so, this is where we start to have a whole series of other conversations. As clinicians, we would go, all right, well, let's address the primary issue that you're talking about. But we might want to also consider these other things because they're the same tissue. And the third one is there are these really simple tests. And it's just, it's like a small, like a small little litmus paper. And you just essentially put it on the tongue and you leave it there for, 5 or 10 seconds. And it will show up. The color will show us how much nitric oxide is floating around. And the nitric oxide is what helps to allow the blood to flow really strongly to areas where we want it to go flowing when we need it. And then there are times when we don't want it to be, walking around at the supermarket. And,
I remember those days, and I fucking regret that. I was like, whoa, buddy. We're at church. Come on.
You shouldn't be pointing at every vegetable when you're in the supermarket, right? You should only be pointing at the right ones.
I used to get embarrassed, like, yo.
So nitric oxide is one of the most important things relevant to this. And there are a few ways that we sort of get at that. But this very simple, non-invasive test is a really easy way to be able to do it. So those are my 3 thoughts on downstairs for the time being. So you might be surprised and thinking like, hey, how the hell is this crackhead who's a chiropractor talking about this stuff? Well, interestingly enough, chiropractic has been around since, 1895. So, for a minute. And while initially it was really considered to be sort of a pseudoscience and there wasn't a whole lot behind it, what we've come to find out is these things are pretty complicated. And even though we probably didn't have the right words to describe it, we were on to the right topics of how to use and assess and manipulate it. And so essentially, we're trying to evaluate how the body is receiving information and then getting it back out. And we do this through what we call adjustments. Some people call it a manipulation. I would say that's a derogatory term, but either way, other people call it cracks. I would say that's a derogatory term, but that's okay. I'll take them all. People call me 4-letter words too, and even though my name is only 3 letters, so I take that also.
Well, I look forward to that word. But I've been to the bad chiropractor. This guy, he just let me see here. Okay, $75. I'm like, are you serious? What the fuck are you doing, man? So, somebody told me I should get an enema and relieve. What do you think about that? I've never.
Apparently enemas are especially helpful for a variety of reasons. One of which, if someone is consistently constipated, it can be helpful. Second, it seems to be really helpful in terms of improving the integrity of the tissue. So if it's already being altered in one way or another, it seems as though enemas can be helpful for that. I'm sure there's 100 of other reasons, and that isn't my area of expertise. But I don't. Much like finding any practitioner, I think you want to do some due diligence to find the right one that you feel A, has the skill set, and B, you feel comfortable working with. So, if you were going to get an enema, I would do the same thing.
So, Dr. Heath, how do we tell the difference between a good chiropractor and a bad chiropractor?
Gosh, I wish there was a more definitive way of doing it. I think with any kind of service provider, whether it's your mechanic or your doctor, you need to try and solicit firsthand recommendations from others, loved ones, friends, whomever, right? Secondly, you can go and do a little bit of evaluation. Do they actually have a degree, or are they lying? Do they have the nuanced skill sets, or are they keeping up with the things or not? Have they had any infractions on their license or not? So, I guess you could do some background information like that. And then thirdly, it's just like a popularity contest. You go to Yelp or Facebook or Google, and the person who has more likes. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're better, but it probably means that they haven't screwed up too many people.
Right.
Good point.
And, I think most reputable doctors of any flavor, no matter what flavor we're talking about, will offer you a 15 or 20-minute initial consultation because, chiropractic care, much like many other kinds of service-oriented cares versus procedures, you're working with that person over a period of time. It's not a one-time and done, right? So, a surgical procedure, theoretically and hopefully, once the surgery is done, you're done, right? And you don't have to deal with the person again. So you almost don't care whether you like the person. They just have to be the best at doing that. But with a service kind of activity, you want to make sure you like the person, because part of what's happening is you're trying to establish a relationship where you feel comfortable sharing what's happening. Are things not going great down there or not? And that you are willing to receive the care as well. And if you don't like the person enough, it's just not going to be great, right? So anyway, I think those are some ways that you could evaluate. And I don't know if that's necessarily any different from evaluating a chiropractor by contrast of any other provider, really.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, where we kind of started before we went down down the primrose path was with Faizon's back. Could his back issues be a part of the problem that he's complaining about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we were discussing earlier, how the neurology affects everything. We have central nervous system, this brain and spinal cord, and then the nervous
Big brain.
Brain, yep.
The big brain as opposed to the little brain.
True. Yes. Good point. I appreciate that. So, those nerves are coming down and they're exiting and going to every organ, cell, and tissues. And we have to signal for tissues to do certain things or not do them. or do them at the right time, or not at the supermarket or wherever it is. And so we need to make sure the neurology is functioning. And that's bi-directional communication, right? We got to receive information from the outside. Ooh, she is hot. And time to, get ready, right? And okay, we're done. Let's go to sleep. You don't need a tent, so it's time to go lie down, right? So, the body's got to be able to respond appropriately. So yes, the neurology, if it's, they did a study out of the University of Colorado. They found that the mere weight of a dime, I don't, whatever a dime weighs, I don't know what it weighs, but not a lot, right?
Right.
Alter the signal of the nerve by up to 60%. Now, that doesn't mean that every time you press on a nerve, it's being altered by 60%. But they found that through repeated studies that they could alter it by such a nominal amount of pressure. And it just stands to show that, if we're in some kind of weird contorted position, long standing, we're going to change the communication, wherever the communication is, downstairs or upstairs or anywhere, wherever we're going, right?
Right.
So the answer to your question is yes.
Okay. All right then. So just to get a little bit of clarification in my mind, Faizon, did this problem start for you with COVID?
Damn. Yeah. I had my daughter right before COVID. She was born in May 19th. So I was getting it in.
Wait, I thought you got it in 9 months earlier.
Yeah. So 29, she was May 19th was when she was born. So exactly. So all before then, it was good. I mean, I was good.
And he got it in good 10 months early.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Like, let's do some investigation. And then COVID happens February 19th. Right?
Wow.
I don't remember the date, but something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
if we know.
I remember it was like the day I got it was February 9th, but 2019.
Okay.
That's all blurry.
And
Right.
at that time, the woman that had my child was impregnated because they was born in May. Yeah, so it's either the baby mama or COVID's. One of them is not making it go.
Well,
I am not touching that.
more than likely, with a newborn child, you probably weren't getting a lot of sleep. And we know a deficit in sleep affects everything negatively, right? And more than likely, when you get COVID, you're coughing and not getting a lot of physical activity and you feel crappy and you're probably not moving around a lot. And that negatively affects everything. So, potentially those two things both contributed pretty negatively to having back pain. And potentially the other thing we were talking about.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. What about cigars?
Well, we know that a couple things are relevant here. One is that COVID is at least it starts out as a respiratory condition. We breathe in, COVID particles, and there's that weird little like droplet everyone's seen a million times with all the little tentacles and so forth, and it gets in us. And smoking reduces our body's filters, be that in our nose predominantly, but also in our throat. And so it diminishes the filter capacity to be able to keep COVID out. So that's one thing. The second thing is when we're smoking, we're getting less oxygen in, and the oxygen is super critical and necessary for essentially all functions. I mean, think about the fact that you could not eat for, 30 days, right? And you could still be alive. You could not drink water for around 3 days or more and still be alive. But you can only not breathe for around 3 minutes, and then you're done. You're toast. You're over, right? So it just stands to reason how critical oxygen is. That's also relevant for COVID because it's a respiratory condition. And moreover, we have these little powerhouses. They're like nuclear generators inside of every cell, muscle cells, organ cells, tissue cells, whatever. They're called the mitochondria. And these little nuclear generators require three things, the same three things that you used when you went camping. They need kindling, which is like glucose or fat, some energy. They need a spark, which is the neurology to be able to signal it. And they need oxygen, which is oxygen. So when we have less oxygen, we can't produce as much energy, and the energy is required to do, all the things we do. It's also required to fight battles, like when we have COVID or we want to get more robust. We need oxygen, and so if we are not getting as much oxygen in, then those things all start to go. They don't work as well. So unfortunately, cigars are probably not great. On occasion, probably fine.
That's gonna be a problem.
Now, Faizon, I want to be very, very conscious of your time because I do know that you have a plane to catch.
Yeah, I'm looking right
So
now.
we are right at the top of the hour. Do you need to run now?
Yeah, I was just about to. I was just about to say, I hate to talk about this and run.
Yes. Yes.
But no,
Well,
a lot of good.
you do have a plane to catch, though, and this has been a more than interesting conversation, and we definitely want to bring you.
Definitely. Next time I'll maybe have a survivor story. I'm gonna change some things. I don't know what, but maybe maybe a cigar. I don't know. I just
I challenge you to cut back on the cigars.
yeah. I mean that's my one vice.
Ooh.
That's what they all say.
Listen, cocaine.
I joined the show. Faizon was literally chilling with his cigar before the show started and just relaxing with music. Can't give it up.
Yes.
I'm
not going to comment on that either.
Hopefully, next time you see me, I'll be 20 pounds later. Who knows? Jesus. Thank you.
Well, give me a holler if you want to work on that. That's what I do. So, and Dr. Tim here is one of my cohort that I refer out to and work closely with. So, if you need a hookup, we're here for you.
Oh yeah, trust me. I got to get my oxygen up. Like I said, oxygen. Like I used to walk 3 miles a day, but now just walking a block. I used to walk all around New York City. Now I'm just walking like what? Walking to the airport, I'm cussing people out like, why the fuck is this place so big? Why do we need that many fucking headphone stores? Like what? I passed some fucking 3 Popeyes in the airport. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
They gotta make space for those big old planes. Okay.
Yeah, no, airport. Kansas City have the best airport in the world. You land.
They get you to walk a little bit before you get to the plane and sit for hours. I said they get you to walk a little bit before sitting. That's the magic line.
You're walking 2 to 3 miles in the airport to your thing.
You can get a lot of steps in the airport. That is
you can, and depending on which airport it is, some of them are worse than others. Man, that airport in Dallas is a doozy.
Yes, ma'am.
So, everything's bigger in Texas, including the airport.
Yes. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm gonna jump in.
Thank you so much, Faizon. It's been real. It's been fun, and we definitely will have you back.
Oh yeah. Next time, I'll be back.
All right.
He shall
Yes, sir.
return.
Be back strong.
There you go. Awesome.
All
Oh,
right.
wow. I wasn't prepared for those
Oh, wow.
questions.
Well, you know what? I didn't see that one coming in. You started, you know, you were there in the back and you heard I went right for the best.
Oh, man.
Well,
But that's why we
Dr.
do what we
Dr. Heath
do.
was laughing in the back.
Yes,
I was
bet
laughing.
he was. I bet he was.
You know, I
I'm
mean, the
warning
reality is,
you.
of course,
I'm
I
like,
get these questions in the clinic, but I'm not used to them on a radio show. You know, and like
Well,
the public,
you know what? I did warn you that this was an organic
you did.
conversation, and we flow with.
And I'm assuming since he's bringing it up, you know, we're covered on our HIPAA and you know PHI and whatever. Right? Like,
Yeah,
I didn't go down that path.
I really didn't see going there. So you see, that was
Well,
why I
Matt-
said your 5 questions probably would not be
right.
much interest.
That's okay.
So
Yeah,
it's the
that's
kind of
good.
show we do.
That's
The
great.
formula
I love it.
works. So definitely, I know that you
well,
also
specifically
have a
as a
commitment.
comedian,
Yes,
What was
yes.
that,
You know,
okay?
you bring a comedian on, and he's going to do what comedians do.
Yeah, totally right. I mean, and that's great because
Uh-huh.
you know it should be lively. I mean, it'd be boring if we're just like talking to bullet points. You know, no one wants to listen to that
Yes,
shit.
yes,
You know,
absolutely.
certainly not in your free time. I mean, you know, maybe there are other
Right,
occasions where that's like important, but not in your free time. No one's going to sign up.
right, absolutely.
You'll see
So
everyone click on and click off of the show.
I think that they probably stayed on with that one
Probably, yeah,
to see
right.
where it was going.
Oh, that's great. Well, had I known, I would have brought more props. I would have gone to the supermarket and brought some. Oh man!
For the next time.
Yeah. Oh shit! Like I'll have like a toolbox of all kinds of miscellaneous shit just in case.
Just in case, because you never know where we're going on this
Right.
show. Say the purpose of this show is to
Yeah, it's
educate,
like a
inform,
hunt.
and to entertain.
Got to be ad libbing.
So,
Okay.
well, Dr. Heath,
That's
we
right.
loved having you on. I know that you do have a patient. Dr. Heath moved his patients around so that he could come and join us for this show, and so he does
Fortunately,
have.
they were all accommodating, which was great. But yes, hey, well, thanks so much for inviting me. Let me know if there's another time that works out, and I'll look forward to connecting with you guys soon. Have a terrific
And
evening.
we'll be thrilled to have you back. You have a good
Thank
evening
you.
too, and enjoy your patient.
Okay, all right. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Figure out how to get out of here.
Bye.
I don't know.
Well,
Wow.
I sure didn't see that one coming.
Listen, you knew it. With him, we had the expectation it's going to be comedy hour and we're going to have some fun, and we did.
Yes, yes, indeed. This is like sitting in the front row of the show at the comedian show, because you know if you sit in the front row, it's going to be on and popping.
Oh yeah, it's all
So,
you know.
yep.
I was on before. You know, we started the live, so about 15 minutes before we were getting ready for the feed. And he was just chilling there. I mean, I loved it. He was playing the music, and I was just boogieing with him, and it was just cool. I have to say, I mean, it was just expected. He's great.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really a neat guy. He is really a neat guy. So, and I don't know if you've seen any of the movies that he's played in, but in the movies, a lot of the roles aren't really big roles, but there's just something about him that catches your attention. You know, he's got that whatever it is
The
that
comic
makes you
relief.
look. Yeah,
That's
that
right.
makes you look.
Well, he's
You
got
know?
personality. He's got that whole flavor. He's got the voice. He's got the presence, and then that's you can't miss him.
Yes,
You'll
he
see him.
does.
You can't miss him. I mean, you have to. And he really look. I mean, when he looks at you, I mean, you gotta laugh. I mean, I have to say it. Yeah, when in the movies, I mean, I remember Friday was like one of my funny ones that I enjoyed, and he was in there as Big Worm, as you said, and
Right.
oh my God, that was like small scenes, but I mean, they were like impactful. Like you can never forget those scenes.
Yeah, and I
That
mean, I
that
loved him in
the
Replacements.
couple.
I loved him in the Replacements.
Well, that's another one. But the one that actually was that the more recent was the couple's retreat,
The
and
couple's
with
retreat,
his
right?
yeah with his girlfriend, call him daddy. That was a fun one. He's talking
And
about
see, I haven't seen that
that,
one. I
oh, you got
haven't
to see
seen
that
that
one.
one. I remember seeing the movie posters, and I remember hearing the controversy about the movie posters because they actually removed them from the movie posters in the European runs, and
Oh, I
so
didn't
that
know
ended
that.
up being, yeah, it ended up being a really big deal, and he actually sued the movie studios because of it, and they eventually settled. I'm not sure that how they settled that all out, but yeah, the European ones or the international ones completely removed, just erased the couple out of the scenes or out of the posters as if they were not there. And obviously, he was up against three bigger stars. And part of the game
Mhm.
when you're starring in these movies is to get that publicity, and particularly if you've got three bigger stars, it elevates your positioning and it creates better jobs for you. And to be completely removed from it like that is career detrimental, potentially. So, he fought that one out. But yeah, I have
Well,
not seen
you
that
have to
one.
fight. I mean,
Oh
oh, no,
yeah,
no, it is
absolutely.
funny. I mean, his scene was completely hilarious. You just got to floor. I mean, we were flooring right now. I mean,
Yes,
I couldn't
yes.
stop laughing. I was controlling myself, but I just couldn't help it. So, but that's
I
what it is,
literally had tears streaming. Okay, this is good.
But
This is healthy for
I saw
me.
you. I saw you. You were close. I was like, oh my god, she's she's crying.
Yeah,
Well,
it's like you're just
Dr. Heath was laughing. I don't know if you were able to see Dr. Heath on the back, in the waiting room, but
no, I
he
couldn't
was
I couldn't
cracking
see him.
up,
It
and he
just
was,
says
uh, yeah, he was cracking up. That's why I was just waiting for him to come on. I mean, it was just like, and he was like showing the sign, like this is what you need, So it was just funny the way his impression. I mean, literally was fun, to see him, on the backstage here. So, but listen, this was awesome. I think a lot of people actually were on LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, on Instagram watching, and they all
excellent.
said they enjoyed it. So
Excellent.
listen, as
Good deal.
expected.
Good
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. So
All
so
right. Well,
listen,
we'll
we're gonna have
definitely
more of
be
those.
bringing Faison back.
Oh yeah, and this time we'll talk
So,
comedy hour.
oh yeah. And we've
All
got
right.
we have a couple of other funny guys in the lineup too. So it's about to be on and popping because I'm sure that once they watch this show, they'll see that the gloves are off and you can go where you want to go. So it should be interesting.
It, it is a fun place, and we tackle some good stuff, and it's real. It's not
And
fake. It's not staged. We don't have
it is
scripted stuff
not
here, so it is what
staged.
it is. Raw. Yeah, and literally what you see
We
is what
roll
you
with the
get. We don't
punches,
even
and
have
and laughter is the best medicine out there. So we'll roll with it.
That's
So
right. And
as
listen,
we're
I enjoy it.
absolutely. So as we're heading out, do we want to try and see if we can work some music and work that worm thing back out again?
Well, again, I'll do it for the live, and then we'll see. Let me just see what we can do about that. Give me a sec. We'll have the people do the dance with us. All that thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see what
Audience
we
participation.
can do. All right, all right, hold on. Let's get to it.
I don't have to mirror my screen so I can see you going the same way that I'm going.
Well, no, you're on the right. I think you're. We gotta just time it. All right, let's see. All right, all right. Da-da-da-da. All right, people, stand. Here we go.
They're staying
Let's
so they
see
can
how we
dance
do
with
this.
us.
That's right. It's coming. It's coming.
There it is.
No, no, this is. I'm still just trying to, make sure that it gets connected to our feed here.
Right?
This is our signature, folks. So now you're gonna see us. Now you know. There he goes.
It was so funny because it was just something that we were doing to play around. But as the guests come on, they were like, but we thought we were going to do the. So,
Yeah,
like
listen,
Faizon
that's
said,
what
it's
it
funny
is.
the things that stick, you know?
Well, it's funny because again, when he was on, he was literally early on, and he was just chilling there watching, waiting for the stream. So I put him on the stream, and I watched it, like, and then I heard it. He was like doing his thing, and so yeah, listen, you gotta have some fun, right?
Absolutely.
Laughter, we're talking about medicine, and this is still about health. Your endorphins and everything is kicking, your muscles, better than frowning, and it's healthy for you.
Laughter is
And
the
music
best
keeps it
medicine.
going.
And
So
did
here we
you
go. Are you
know that
ready?
it takes. Yep, let's go.
Here we go.
All right.
All right, here we go. Oh yeah.
I hear nothing.
We're gonna go this way. Oh, you don't
I
hear
hear
nothing.
nothing.
Okay.
Nope. I hear no
Oh, all
music.
right. That's. I'm hearing it. How about now?
I just hear
No.
you. Nope. Nope. I could hear it when you were queuing it up. It was low, but we could hear it.
But now it's in the system. So weird.
Well,
Hold on.
it's out there in the cosmos in the system. It's not here in the
I'm
studio
the
with
only one
us.
listening to it. That's funny.
You're the only one that's listening to it.
I don't know. Do people? Let's see. How about now? It should be coming through.
Oh, I can
No,
hear it really, really low. I get ear
that's
strain trying to
interesting.
go there.
Hold on, sir.
Well,
We're gonna figure this out.
we need to figure
What?
that out
Nothing.
tonight.
All right, we're not gonna figure it out. But we can
We
do
may
it
have to
still.
get it. Yeah, we can't wait.
I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna actually have it on the board recorded, so this way it's always gonna be there. That's it.
Okay.
That's gonna be our signature. Yeah, because
All
playing
right.
it right now
And-
here, it's a little.
And we're going to make a rule that number one is always going to be to the left.
Left is the first one. We'll go this way. That's my left, right?
See,
Oh man.
that's why I was saying maybe I need to mirror because my left is this way.
So left. That's right. Say left. Left.
Left.
Right.
Right.
All right. Right.
Left.
All right, folks. Let's do this.
Right.
Right.
Left.
Left. Right.
Right.
And that's it.
Left. Right.
Where's Rosie?
Rosie
Where's
is
Rosie?
actually quiet now. She was very, very offended that we put her back in the room. So I think that she has declared that she and Mitzi are a regular part of the show, and we did not have a right to cancel her performance. Now it's gone.
Is she hearing music now?
I was
Did
hearing
you
it for a
hear music now?
second there. Not now.
No, it's not
I
picking
heard
it
it
up.
for a second
No.
though.
Yeah. So next time, definitely, we'll have it recorded in the system, so this way it plays.
Okay,
yeah.
sounds good.
Well, you gotta have
Sounds
some fun.
good. And next time we'll
Well,
have
folks,
to bring back our little co-stars. Neither one of them
Yes,
was very
they should
happy
be
about
there.
this thing.
Rosie
Rosie was back
dance with us too. I mean,
yeah. So I actually missed them. So we will bring back our mascots.
that's
So
it. Well, listen, I mean, it's been real.
It has
It's
been
good.
real. It's been fun. And you have been listening to another episode of Chatters That Matters. Let's talk about it. And we had our guest, Faizon Love, who we will definitely be bringing back for your enjoyment because that was way too much fun. So tune in on a regular with us. Watch for those ads. Right now, we're still working out the timing for the lives. That's part of this bi-coastal thing, this bi-coastal world that we're living in now. I'm on the West Coast and Hurricane's on the East Coast, and some of you may be listening from other parts of the world. So we're all in different time zones, and we're still trying to kind of work out where it's best going to be placed for everybody's listening and enjoyment, and so that we can coordinate schedules. But while you're out there listening to the show, we like your input on that too, as in terms of the times that you would like to hear this show air. What works for you? Later in the evening, earlier in the evening, keeping in mind that there is a 3-hour gap. So if it's earlier in the evening for you and you're thinking earlier in the evening is 6, well, that's 3 o'clock in the afternoon for me, and I may still be at work. And we had also discussed weekends. So let us know if weekends work for you. And if weekends work for you, which day and what hours. So pick your favorite time and your favorite day and toss it out there, and we'll compare and come up with the day that seems to work best for you, our listeners. We appreciate you being there with us and sharing this experience with us. We do it for you to educate, inform, and definitely to entertain. You've been listening to Chatters That Matters. Let's talk about it. I'm your show host, Dr. Cheryl Bryant Bruce, MD, the Celebrity Doc, and my co-host, Hisham Elamonte,
Hurricane H.
Hurricane H. We'll see you next week.
Bye bye, everyone.